Israel has recognized Somaliland. This is what it means and why you should care. And this is quite complicated, but I promise you it's worth it. First of all, this is what Somaliland is. It's part of modern-day Somalia. Yesterday, Israel was the first nation in the world to recognize it as a sovereign nation, as opposed to a part of Somalia, which has been rebuked by almost every single member of the African Union because it violates the sovereignty of Somalia. And I'm going to add a lot of context, but what is important here is Israel doesn't give a fuck about autonomy of an African nation. And this is totally divorced from the argument about what a country is. This is a purely political play by Israel and by extension the American empire. Immediate context is that Israel has an explicit interest in using Somaliland to ethnically cleanse Gazans. This is something you might hear in the next coming days, but there is more to this. It is not just Israel's interests, it is America's. For two reasons. First of all, here's Somalia, Somaliland, here's Djibouti, and here is the Strait of Aden. Here's Yemen, here's where the Houthis have control. Got it? The reason Djibouti is important is because it is where a lot of people have military bases to protect the Strait of Aden. And importantly, America has one and China has one, because Djibouti is moving closer and closer to the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China. And this territory is incredibly important to America because this is where the Houthis, Yemen's government in that area, did the previous blockade in solidarity with the Palestinian people against Israel. Do you see it coming together? America's position in protecting a geopolitically important strait is being challenged by increased Russian and Chinese influence in the place that it has the military bases. This is why what I consider to be the voice of American imperialism, the Heritage Foundation, says that the US should recognize Somaliland. Of course, they justify it with cultural other bullshit, but they don't care. They are acting in their interests of protecting the American empire. Because ultimately, Somaliland has offered explicitly multiple times to exclusively give a naval and military base to America if they recognized it, which would strengthen their position in the area, help them secure the Aden Strait, help in their war against the Houthis that they are aligned with the Saudis against, and push back against Chinese influence in the area. That is China's only military base. Outside of China, of course. So when you have analysis of Israel being an outpost of the American empire, it becomes super clear what's happening. Israel is acting in its own interests, but is acting as a massive clear proxy for American imperial interests, protecting security interests in that area, acting against the sovereignty of the nations to protect the empire's control of that territory, and fighting back against other conflicting, either sovereign, national, or international pressures to back off from that area. So do not be confused. This play with Somaliland, maybe America didn't say yes, but they certainly didn't say no, because this is just as much in Israel's interests as it is in America's, because they are not different things.